Hey guys, it's Mr. Garmain here. I am sorry I'm not at school today. I can tell you're all heartbroken that we didn't have normal class today. Today, my big plan was to go over chapter 5 of the book and to finish talking about timbres. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. So what I wanted to do was just kind of give you a quick little overview of timbres. When we left lecture, we had gotten to tenor voices. We didn't get any bass voices. So please look at the slideshow so that you can hear the different voices and the different voice families. The big things that I want you to be able to identify from this element is that you can tell the difference between instrument families. So know what makes the strings sound like the strings. Basically a string instrument is any instrument that has strings that you either bow or pluck, okay? And then know all the members of the violin family. The viol family is the proper name. Then as far as woodwinds go, a lot of people get woodwinds confused because, woodwinds and brass, they both use air. So they're both, technically wind instruments. The difference between woodwinds and brass, though, is brass instruments are usually made of brass, hence the name. And then woodwinds historically were made out of bone or made out of wood. Many of them need a reed to work. There are a few that don't, like flute and piccolo don't require a reed, but historically they would have been made out of wood or bone. Another defining feature is really that sound. Brass instruments have a very distinct sound, right? And that's because they are these tubular instruments that have a lot of tubing in them. They don't have keys, they have valves, which help them to elicit different series in the overtone series. So that's why they are considered brass instruments. And again, generally made out of brass, where woodwinds are generally made out of wood or bone or, today, plastic, some nickel. Flutes are obviously made out of a metal. Let's see, percussion, if you hit it, it's percussion, right? So we all know the drum kit. We're all very familiar with percussion instruments, but that would also include like kettle drums or timpani as they are properly called. And then we have the keyboard instruments like my piano, organ, synthesizers, things like that. And today we have a lot of electronic instruments, and that's one thing that I don't spend a lot of time talking about are the electronic instruments, but that's really, since synthesizers became very popular in the 60s, and into the 70s, I think we need to look at electronic instruments as well. So, just be confident talking about the instrument families. Know the order of voice types, coming back to the human voice, which is highest, which is lowest, which voices belong to females, which voices belong to males. My hair is doing some weird things today. I apologize. So just kind of know those things about timbres. Be able now, when we talk about our pieces, the pieces that you listen to in the weekly listening things that we do for online students, the pods, I expect you to be able to start identifying instruments that you hear. So do you hear an electric guitar? Say it. Do you think the vocalist is a soprano? Say it. Do you hear a percussion section? Say it. Say what you think you hear. Even if it's wrong, at least you're trying to identify something, right? That's the goal in all of this, is that you're making an effort to identify what you hear and to become more aware of all the different things that go into making a piece of music. Especially in vocal music and pop music, it's so easy to just get stuck on listening to the singer that we miss everything else that's going on. That's one of the reasons why I don't focus on lyrics, period. Lyrics, I think a good song exists without lyrics. I'm not knocking lyric songs. I like lyrics, but those songs that sound just as good without lyrics, those are few and far between. So there you go. That's kind of week 5 in a nutshell. I forgot my book at work. I didn't expect to not be there today. But make sure that you've read through chapter 5. Be familiar with, the patient that couldn't forget anything, because I think that's really interesting. And, just make sure that you read those different case studies and things, highlight a few things in there, because I do ask some specific questions on the upcoming quiz. All right, I guess I will see you all next week. I hope you have a great weekend. If you have any questions, concerns, fears, anxieties, anything like that, just shoot me an email. The week 5 lecture for today should still be on the class resources page. All right, have a great one, and I will see you next week. Bye.